I hear you.
But it helps so much to have.
What is that?
You gotta be real. But it does help so much to have people like Aaron, he can say, no, we did that with this last administration.
The advertise. Oh, for
They were on.
Just in case.
no problem. Okay. All right. Sorry we're a little late. We had a executive session prior and couldn't get a couple of these guys to quit talking, namely attorneys. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll call to order the November 20th, 2017 Board of Works meeting here in Lawrenceburg. Can I get a roll call, please?
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Member Alan Calloway.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Assistant Chief, Fire Chief Rob Schutte.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
All right. Any announcements? You gentlemen have anything to announce? I don't. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Committee reports, we got Rob Schutte here tonight.
I just have a couple quick things here the chief wanted me to pass on, and then I have no other additional reports. These are some Thanksgiving prevention ideas to pass on. Home cooking fires happen most often on Thanksgiving. Stand by your pan. If you are cooking at high temperatures, turn off the burner before leaving the kitchen, and let everybody know never use them, or turkey fryers never use on a wooden deck or in the garage. We have issues like that a lot of times. Otherwise than that, I don't have any more reports, Mr. Mayor.
Stand by your pan.
Know that I can be adjourned because I am on the engine tonight. My crew's sitting over there.
Gotcha. Is that all you got?
Yeah, and then I gave Councilman after.
Okay. No problem. Thank you. Go stand by your pans.
Yeah.
All right, Police Chief Donnie Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to let the board know we did get our cars ordered for next year, 2 of them from Ag Ford, so that's on the way. I would also like to ask the board tonight if I'm having some other car trouble from my undercover cars. I have 2 of them that I can trade in, and then I can get 1 back. I have around 35 left in my account. I have enough for that. If the board would be so kind to approve that, I can deal with Ag Ford on that, trade the 2 cars that are just nickel and dime me to death, and get another one coming in.
So this is for the undercover that we support at the special crimes?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Question is are we okay with dealing with just one?
With just one what?
You said so you could deal with Ag Ford.
Yeah, that's where I get my cars at.
Okay.
I don't necessarily have to go there. I can go another
Well,
place.
and I don't.
As long as you stay in town, I don't care where you go.
Yeah, I like doing local business.
Well, I like local too. I just didn't know whether you had a certain car you had to use, or if we should entertain talking to a Dodge.
Get a Corvette.
Chevy and a Ford dealer.
Get a Corvette.
Yeah.
And
Most
that was
conspicuous as
just
possible.
a question.
They can go wherever they want. As long, I've always asked them, well, we've always asked people to stay in town if they
I like
could.
local, I just don't know about picking one.
I will stay local. Let me tell you that.
Okay. All right. I guess you want that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
Okay, the motion would be from Chief Combs to purchase a vehicle for one of the Special Crimes Unit officers that we support, that's out of our office actually, and trade in two used vehicles towards that. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Thanks, Donnie.
Thank you, Mayor and Board, and that's all of my reports.
Okay. EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Yeah, the run totals for October
157 calls. Also, our chest compression devices are on the truck.
Okay. Is it possible, Bobby, I'll talk to Johnny too, or you can share this with him, but is there any way we could, on our spreadsheet, get a comparison from last year's month compared to this year's month?
I'll tell you what I could do. I can give you statistics for 2017.
Yeah.
No, 2016. I have it on file.
Yeah, maybe start this in January or something, but if we could get it on the spreadsheet, you got January through December.
Yeah.
And that would be 2018, and then put 2017's numbers in there as well, just so we have an idea of if the calls are going down, are they going up, or...
It's hard to do it on both sides.
Oh, yeah, you're one of those thrifty guys, aren't you? That's right.
But what I could do, though, like, of course, we're in November, when December comes, into December, when January comes, and I'll give you a full year statistic.
Okay.
Attach 16 statistics to the 17, that way you can compare.
Okay.
That way.
Well, I'll talk to you afterwards. I think we can probably set that up. And
Yeah, I can do that, though.
we can get it. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it.
But runs are increasing, to let you know that.
Well, that's just what I wanted to see. I didn't know.
I can do that. I'll bring that next meeting.
Okay. All right. New business. I've got one. Council has decided to post a position that is going to be outside of the union. It's going to be for a civil city superintendent. This person, and you'll be able to get a copy of the job description if you need one. But this person is going to oversee all operations of civil city. Currently, what we were having was Mr. Messmore try and do all that on top of other redevelopment and other things, and it was decided that we think we need a full-time person. And so anyway, tonight, all I'm asking for is a motion to be able to go out for advertisement for this position. And I guess that's, any questions from you guys? You guys are aware of it? But any other comments?
When will that advertising start?
It would be immediately. Yeah. And what we're going to do is advertise locally first, according to the committee. And if we don't get a good core group of folks to interview, then we'll go further out. Yeah. So, I'll entertain a motion. Motion is to allow the city superintendent position to go out for advertisement. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That's all the new business I have, unless you guys got anything. I don't have any old business tonight.
I was just going to bring up the advertising contract.
You got it.
For 2018, I just wanted to get the board's approval, make sure you guys wanted to proceed with that. April Fritz with the newspapers here as well, if you guys have any questions, but just wanted to get a motion to move forward with that, unless you guys have questions.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion, we move forward.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Tyler. If there are no other old business, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion will carry. Utility Board as soon as we're seated.
No, I just.
Okay.
What I'll do, I'll make mention that there's a couple others, there's some that aren't on this list that I know of. I'll kind of leave it open.
Yeah. Additions. Okay. All right. We'll call to order the Lawrenceburg Utility Board. I'll take that. For November 20th, 2017, can I get a roll call, please?
Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay. Any announcements?
Your Honor, I would like to add an item to the agenda under new business.
Okay.
What this is the sewer adjustments for the summer,
Okay.
for the year 2017.
All right.
And I'll cover those when we get to it.
Okay. Any other announcements?
A couple, we've completed a couple projects, the lighting projects on High Street and one at the Walnut and 50. I want to make sure that everybody's aware that this was a program that was started kind of when I first came to Lawrenceburg, but we've had tremendous success or support from this administration, this council in doing those types of things. We recently posted on Facebook for people to let us know, what they think about the projects that we're engaged in, and to really let public opinion kind of drive some of the things that we're thinking about doing. And we've had just a lot of positive response back on those projects. So I want to thank Mayor and Utility Service Board. I want to thank all of you for supporting us in those initiatives, and we'll continue to do those kinds of things so long as it's the desire of this board.
Well, I've gotten a lot of positive comments, or compliments and comments back about it, so. For this weekend, I heard, though, they would like the LED lights at the arch to be red and green.
On that note, the gentleman the programmer will be here tomorrow.
Okay.
And so we can do any number of things. We can make the lights look like candy canes going up and down the towers. There's thousands and thousands of options that we can do with those.
Okay. Sounds good.
That concludes my announcements.
All right. Okay, I'll entertain a motion then to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Moved. I'll second it.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Any committee reports?
I've got a couple. We're currently working on a way to reduce the number of sewer lift stations that we have, condensing 6 to 7 sewer lift stations into one location. We think that'll provide tremendous relief in terms of infiltration and issues that we're having where water gets backed into people's basements in certain parts of the community, and this is up around Ludlow Hill Park. So just want to make everybody aware of that we'll be bringing forward some type of proposal for y'all to review in the next few months.
Okay.
Also, as you guys are aware, to date, I've been keeping my calendar, the appointments that I make, as well as reaching out to the different people that we're working with, and all the other things that I'm trying to do. We don't have an office manager, and with the addition of the fiber optics business and the data center, and just business picking up in general, I am planning to advertise for a position that we included in the union contract for an executive assistant / key accounts. So I just want to make the board aware of that.
Do you anticipate it being internal? You doing it internal?
I do.
Okay. All right.
And that concludes my committee report, Your Honor.
All right. All right, under new business, Mr. Richardson's back. He's
If
back in
I
Lawrenceburg.
could, if we could tackle the,
Yeah. Oh, the old...
yeah, let's
the
get
old-
those out of the way first.
Okay. Then Mr. Clausen, he wants to take your thunder, Mr. Richardson.
Well, I don't want to step on you. I don't want to follow you because you're going to be amazing and I'll fall flat, so.
But anyway, sewer adjustments.
Okay, what we have is, we do sewer adjustments, and we do it in front of this regulatory body because we don't have a provision in the ordinance that allows us to do this. So I don't have the authority to issue these credits on the sewer myself. It takes this board to do that. So I've given you a list of the customers who are here, and what's important from this list to see is the amounts are relatively small. Of all the customers that we have listed here, it totals $1,400. Now, there's a few customers that I've been made aware of that we're missing. Some of those I knew, Mooch had brought me his readings in some time ago, and they didn't make the list, and I'm not sure why. And then there's a couple others that we need to put on here, 3 or 4. So what I would like to do is have these approved and have everybody understand that I will bring back the corrected list with the total numbers of people and the corrected dollar amount at the next board meeting.
Okay.
So I'll take a motion for that if you would.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the sewer adjustments for the pool fills for 2017?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Richardson, welcome back to Lawrenceburg. Lineman rodeo presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You got any polls or anything in here?
They are on the way.
Okay.
They are on the way. Mr. Mayor, Board, Olin, thank you for the invitation. Anytime I get an invitation to come to Lawrenceburg, regardless of what it's for, it's hard to follow a pool fill, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yes, it is.
if I can follow that. So
Pretty interesting stuff.
some of you are familiar with me and certainly with the Lineman's Rodeo. I was formerly the executive director of Indiana Municipal Electric Association. I resigned effective October 1st of this year from that position. This afternoon I was retained as the managing consultant for IMEA to assist with the transition as they hire new staff. With that said, I'm here to discuss with the possibility of Lawrenceburg hosting an annual Lineman's Rodeo here in the city of Lawrenceburg beginning in 2018 and as long as we can do it here and as long as we're welcome here. We had our 75th anniversary here for Indiana Municipal Electric Association and our Line Workers Rodeo. It was a huge success, almost entirely because of the efforts that the Lawrenceburg utility staff put into it because of the situation with IMEA at the time. 2017 we held the rodeo in Mishawaka, and the turnout was dismal at best. We didn't have half the teams. We had less than a third of the apprentices. Most of the linemen, teams that didn't compete, wanted to come back to Lawrenceburg.
They come here for the karaoke.
They come here for the karaoke. And I have spent a good part of 2 years here in Lawrenceburg, and when I went to some of the local establishments, they knew me by name. So,
Shame on you.
so I have formed, or actually in the process of working with attorneys and with the state, a Indiana Line Workers Association, a non-for-profit. I'm also the sole proprietor for a training company called Powerline Pros. I've been the sole proprietor of that since 2002. It's just sat idle while I was working on other things. So we are looking for a home for an annual Line Workers Rodeo. And we would love to make it here in Lawrenceburg if we could. I think it's good for the community, it's good for the utilities. Participation will be outstanding, I'm sure of that. We have the hotel is already booked. I blocked that about 6 months ago with the intentions of IMEA coming and holding their rodeo back here every single year and their conferences here every single year. That's not going to happen with Indiana Municipal Electric Association. My suggestions to them as the managing consultant is that they not host a rodeo, that they discontinue the IMEA rodeo and they become a major supporter of the Indiana Line Workers Association annual rodeo. And that the sole purpose of the Indiana Line Workers Association is the Line Workers Rodeo. I'm fairly confident that IMEA is not going to have a Line Workers Rodeo for 2018. I know Olin and I have talked many, many times, going back to early 2016, that it was an interest of his to have an annual Line Workers Rodeo here in Lawrenceburg. I think we have a great opportunity now, and what am I leaving out, Olin?
Well, we would bill this as the Whiskey City Rodeo, and it would be an annual event. When we did it the last time, I think everybody can recall that we actually turned a bit of a profit on the event. Obviously, some of the locations that we used, or the location that we used, has been kind of tapped for other purposes. Mike Harper has met with Paul Seymour, and they've looked at another location that is still locals, where we could locate the rodeo. What I would like to see happen is there's some narrow funding for this type of an event through the utilities, and I certainly want the utilities to sponsor as much as we can. But I think that I would also like to open up the sponsorship to the city and to IMPA, which is tentatively pledged a considerable donation for support of the rodeo. I'd like to get the city involved because we won't have IMEA staff to help us with this event. And I would need additional support from some of your team and people from Civil City in order to make this a success such as it was the time before. So I think that if the city could step up on part of the funding requirements, that gives us some skin in the game and allows us to work cohesively and collectively together to do an annual event that I think could become something that would draw many utilities from across the state, across the region, really.
And
What kind of sponsorship are we looking at? I mean, do we know?
financially,
Yeah.
probably neighborhood of 30,000
Okay. Annually?
annually. And as it grows, and I'm pretty confident that it would, especially if you don't put the restraints on it that IMEA put on it. They had so many things boggle them down that they didn't want this group in or they didn't want that group in. If we open it up to whomever wants to participate in it, people, they will come and they will participate. Olin mentioned the sponsorship with the Joint Action Agency, IMPA. I'm confident that will be there. I'm the sole proprietor of Powerline Pros, so I'll be a sponsor, but not at the level that IMPA will be, but labor-wise, I certainly will be. The utility, I'm now working as the transmission and distribution superintendent with Crawfordsville. Crawfordsville has already pledged to participate, and they will be here. And I believe that that IMEA will also. I mean, it's in their best interest to just be a sponsor and not try. Yes.
Are you planning on opening up multi-state?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely, especially here. I mean, we're so close to Kentucky and Ohio that you would be foolish not to do that. And that hurt the IMEA rodeo up in Mishawaka because there were teams from Michigan that wanted to come down and participate, and some of the decision makers wouldn't allow that. They didn't want that to happen. So, yeah, absolutely, Mel, we would definitely want to open it up to whomever.
I think we could get some teams from, local teams from Ohio to come in.
Sure, whether they're municipal, REMCs, I mean, we even had investor-owns that wanted to participate.
And I know of REMC that in Kentucky that would want to come.
Right, right.
I think that by doing this, and because of the popularity of the rodeo that we've had before, so many people that have reached out to us, I know that we're talking about a $30,000 budget. I could see in the second year of this especially, I could see our numbers growing to where this is really a flagship event, especially for the Lyman rodeos, and something that is going to grow in size rapidly. One good thing about it is the group of people that come to these kinds of things, they're generally families. Families come with. They're a very proud group, so they're very supportive of their lineman that's participating. And I think that the opportunities for the businesses and the hotel and so forth to do well during that time, I think if you were to talk with them, and if you recall, we had some businesses come in that said that they had made more money in that single weekend.
They did.
Than they had in any other total month. And so I think the opportunities for our businesses are absolutely incredible with this type of event. And people take interest in it, especially if you're aware of the trades and you participate in the trades. People take interest in this. We want to change the format a little bit and have some entertainment in the evenings, have a little bit of music and some entertainment stuff, and invite the people in the community to participate in that, and just make it more of kind of a community event.
So budgeting for it is difficult because it's, one, we're starting with nothing. So, you know, what participation, what sponsors we're going to have. I mean, I could see it actually making a profit the first year. There would be some in-kind stuff from the utilities, obviously labor-wise, getting poles and doing that type of stuff. The hardest thing is you have to block the facility, the hotels where the banquet is going to be, and you have to give that. You have to guarantee them a certain number. Typically on room blocks right now. With this one, I have not blocked any rooms, but I do have dates blocked, and I'm confident that even if IMEA has its own rodeo, one, I know it's not going to be here. I know where they were talking about having it in Richmond, which would be a mistake for them. But so we do have this facility here already blocked. All I have to do is call them and switch it and take it out of IMEA and put it in the Indiana Line Workers Association or the cities or whoever we determine is going to block that. And you're typically on the hook for 80% of your room block. So if you blocked, and so that's if two nights or 3 nights for the event, I believe it's the September 14th and 15th of Friday and Saturday. Is that correct, Owen? For 2018. Generally, you try to go one night before to one night after the event to get people in and bring their families in and stuff like that. But so estimating that number is where that was the mistake that they made, that IMEA made prior to. There was my predecessor that blocked the rooms, and that was what. Fortunately for me, because I love coming down here, was I had to have all of our training down here to wipe away about a $20,000 deficit that we had in the number of rooms that were blocked versus the number of people that showed up for the conference, not for the rodeo. That was for the conference, where there was a shortfall. So that's where the bulk of the money is we've got to commit to whatever number of rooms we block. The thing to do is go in low and add as you start to fill that block, add 20 or 30 more rooms. But the banquet facility, obviously, that's a big thing. If we chose to have a banquet at that facility, and I think it would be wise to do that.
Well, I mean, you know, guys, this falls in line somewhat with what we've done in the past with sponsoring events that come downtown. The only difference is this is outside event, but you're talking about still utilizing the event center.
Correct.
But, you know, this is a little higher than we went with folks. So I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, the one thing I'd say is we will be the owners of the event. It will be a partnership of which the city and Lawrenceburg would have ownership of the event. So when we talk about being in support of something, we're really being in support of something that not only do we have a history, a record of showing that we're good at, that we can be successful at, but this is really a flagship event that we would own.
I just thinking about the budgeting part of it. I mean, it certainly wasn't budgeted in 2018 because we just approved our budget. But I mean, we've got money to if you guys so choose to do this, we've got funds in that we've intentionally kept available for this kind of stuff. But this would be yeah, Paul.
I mean, this is the utility board. Is the question asked of the utility board to do this, or is this going to go to council too?
That's probably a two-part question. So first, I would like, if we could have a discussion about what the city might want to contribute, and the remainder of that, the utility service board, if they would approve the remainder of that.
Oh, okay. I mean, what kind of number were you considering, Owen, from?
I think 30,000. Last year we spent about 30.
Okay.
And we generated about almost 40.
Okay.
And we did most of that through sponsorships. And we anticipate that the equipment, you know, the different supply houses, that they're going to want to be a part of this.
Okay.
They're going to want to be here. The vendors are, the salesmen, they're going to want to be here in front of the crowds, in front of the linemen. We anticipate individual utilities are going to want to step up and support as well. Crawfordsville's committed.
Yep.
I know IMPA's committed. So the number that we're talking about is a budgetary number. It's a worst-case number, but I don't anticipate that we're going to be writing checks for that amount.
Well, what about, what as a utility board, what as a utility were you considering your piece of contributing?
I'd really leave that up to the utility service board to decide.
All right.
And I got a question. Would this be, being how you made the comment, we're going to kind of own it, would this be seed money? Because if we're going to be getting better as the years goes, would this be an every year event, or could we weed this to a point to where 2-3 years from now it was self-supporting?
Well, I think that to ask that question, I think it will be self-supporting the first year, meaning that we will generate more revenue than we will expend. The revenues that we do generate would remain within the fund, specifically for the next rodeo. We do anticipate an increase in participation from year to year, so that number is going to move north.
Well, I see this as becoming a regional event. The popularity of the national rodeo, and I think if we develop a regional event, a multi-state event, I think this thing will grow and be more than profitable.
Well,
To answer your question, Paul, I see this as seed money, and I think that after the second year, maybe, it'll be self-supporting. Hopefully it will. Otherwise, we can cut the funding off, you know.
Yeah.
well, we seen the effect from last year rodeo. I mean, it was a very positive effect. I mean,
Owen, did you ever get a count on the economic impact?
We had some people come forward, the businesses, and talk, and I can certainly resurrect those minutes. But we had many businesses in here talking about the benefits of having the people in town, that they were in their shops constantly. You know, the wives were in there during the day.
Yeah.
You know, those kinds of things. But really, all
It's hard to put a
that
number on it.
aside, the event actually generated, much to everyone's surprise, it's an event that we had here that actually paid its own bills, you know, and turned a bit of a profit. And in turn, we were able to give back to the sports teams equally, to all the sports teams, donate to the cheerleaders, the football, the basketball, all of those groups, to help support them.
So are you going to, talking about annually, establishing a fund, are you going to do that through the utility, or are you going to do it through council budget?
Well, utilities taking the lead on this now.
Okay, all right.
What we would like to see the city do is the city step up in a partnership role, meaning
Okay.
commit a certain amount of funds towards the advertising and towards the support and things like this, maybe host one of the dinners one night, something of that nature, just so they're formally involved and so that I can know that we have people behind that commitment to tap and to ask to help participate, volunteer, or do different things to help make it a success.
Do you know, Dwayne, what the number is for you to rent your banquet room up at the event center and such? Those kind of expenses?
Generally, depending on what the participation is typically about anywhere from 20 to 25,000. But that comes out of the registration fees and everything, so.
Well, I just looking from, the way we've always handled this is we always wrote a check to the event center. We worked with the event center whenever we would sponsor events.
Right.
And we would just take care of a piece of that or whatever.
Right.
And I would think we could do the same thing. That way it's easier to take care of, if coming out of council budget is what I'm talking about, not utility board.
And that's generally the largest expense right there is depending on what type of banquet you want to
Yeah,
have.
I'm not talking about the banquet, I'm just talking about the rental of the room, they just charge you per person.
Okay, no, there's a room charge. Our total for 2016, I believe, was 22,000.
Okay, all right.
Could I make a suggestion, if it's okay with you, Mayor? I'd like to make a motion that the utility board, as long as it's all right with Olin also, would, being south, seems like the magic number's $30,000. Could the utility board participate in $15,000 and ask council to match that? Because that seems to be around the number that we have been using, hasn't it?
Yeah, 10 to 15.
Is that okay with you?
It's okay with me,
That's fine with me.
does that sound like a piece that the utility can bite off?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that utility gets involved in it to the tune of $15,000, and then we pass it on to council.
Yep.
I'll second.
All right, seconded by Mel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. All right, we'll move that on to council.
Thank you very much,
All right.
Mayor, council.
I'm going to talk about the job openings you all have here. He knew I was going to say something. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you,
Appreciate it.
Dwayne. Appreciate you coming back to Lawrenceburg.
I love coming to work.
I know you do. Thank you.
Bob, I was
Okay,
gonna
any
go
other
field.
new business?
No, Your Honor.
Any old business?
No, Your Honor.
How about a motion to approve the claims then?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. City Council, I'd like to open up the City Council meeting for November 20th, 2017 by standing and reciting the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call there, Tyler?
Member Tony Abbott. Here. Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs. Here. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine. EMS Director Bobby Mills. Here. City Attorney Dal Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen. Mayor Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
All right. Announcements, board reports, streets. I'm almost scared to bring this one up every week, or every meeting. Board, streets, alleys, and curbs. Mr. Cook?
We're probably out of money in that line item,
Mr.
aren't we?
Cook or Mr. Abbott? I don't know who takes over on this one.
I just got maybe like two things on that. I don't know if it's a city's alley or not, but someone said there's a big pothole in the alley between Whiskey's and Whitey's there in the alley. I don't know if it's a city alley or not.
It is.
It is? I guess there's a big pothole there. I haven't taken a look at it yet. Or not.
Get that taken care of.
Between Whiskies and White.
Between Whiskies and Whitey's.
Oh, okay.
And that's all I had on streets, alleys, and curbs.
I got one, Mayor.
What about it?
About the Butler Drive.
Butler Drive
Line that
update.
up on Butler about the patching, Mario. Did you find out anything about that?
Well, from our patching crew,
Yeah. When they gonna do that?
checks in the mail type of answers I'm getting.
Oh, okay. All right. Then we got a fresh cut up there and gravel all over. I just want to make sure we get that done before.
We've got about a
Things
half
off.
dozen patches plus the
Okay.
city building yet to be patched.
Well, I know they worked on travel over there. I figured they.
Different crew,
Different crew. Okay. All right.
How's Pribble looking, Mr. and Mrs. Fouch? Looks good. Yeah. I like it too.
Tony's brought one other thing to my attention.
Need a speed bump on Pribble now, or what?
Yeah, that's the first thing, speed bump on Pribble, speed table. The other thing is, I guess there's a lady calling Tony, but Tony wanted me to bring it up, so he didn't want to get in trouble. That I guess when someone hits the speed bump, it's shaking this lady's house. I don't know.
We did get a call about that.
The one on Front Street?
Correct.
That's the one that the mayor had installed, wasn't it?
That true? That's Front Street.
I do believe.
Yeah, maybe this truck needs to slow down. Donnie, post a police officer that way.
North part of Front Street.
Stop stick.
I can't imagine a truck shaking a house, but maybe it is.
But now, on our phone call, she's gonna get a glass of water and have it filmed as a truck goes over the speed table.
Okay.
And she says it will shake. It's ruining her house, she says.
She would like for us to move it either up or down.
In front of somebody else's house?
Yes.
Said something about in front of Mayor Malone's house.
Yeah, put it up on Crossbow Trails, we'll take it.
The whole road will be a speed bump.
Better watch that, Mayor. Get one up there.
Okay, I'm open for suggestions. You're not pinning this one on me.
Could we shade the edges of it? That's a one-way street. Well, we still have to shade, but.
Is there a way just to go up there and see if this is really happening first?
We can monitor it
How often are those trucks going across there, those?
every day.
At night, afternoon, what?
I think early, Tony, you would probably know more than the air gas folks down there at the bottom.
I really don't know, but my father-in-law lives around there, and he's always complaining about them.
About the speed bump?
Is that the only trucks we got going back there?
Sees more bus traffic than anything.
That's what I was gonna say, too.
I know that there's some other trucks that goes that way too.
There's a lot of them that leaves Proximo and go out.
Robinsons go out that way a lot.
Yes.
Could you put something local, truck traffic only, some signs up there to deter some of the other truck traffic other than the tankers that's going down there?
Put signage that this board would like.
Be
But
cheaper
again, we have
than,
bus traffic, I
it
don't know.
would be cheaper than grinding them down.
But I don't know if it's going to satisfy the complaint.
Can we shade the front of them so they don't bump so much?
Why don't we get a glass of water and a video camera over there
There we go.
and see if this is happening?
I would suggest let's monitor it, and we'll try to give you some deflection numbers
I'll
of
bet
what's
you
happening
next year this time after the
Bring 'em
snowplow
back
hits it a few
in
times. it'll be
comparisons to
deflated.
other areas.
I mean, it's funny, but this woman is serious. She's afraid it's gonna ruin her house.
This winter, it'll shave it off.
I don't think this is funny at all.
Okay, well, let's get some data, and see if maybe it does need to be ground down or something, and maybe it's a little higher than the others or something, I don't know, but I heard it, we measured it and it was intolerance. If needed, we can, outside of taking it out, but you have other people on that street that ask for it to be put in.
Yeah.
So, I'm not in favor of taking it out, but whatever we can do to help satisfy or
The
alleviate.
local daily driver, maybe if we do soften it up, they'll still respect it and go slower.
I figure with the yellow stripes on it, people are gonna slow down when they see it, no matter what. And we could just grind down the front of it so it's a little bit easier.
I'd make it,
Semi-trucks going fast that are doing
Yeah.
it, all we can do is just slow down the
It
trucks.
can't be going too quick because there's a
They
stop
got a
sign
curve
within.
right there, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm told they don't stop at that stop sign very often.
well, they're only going one way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you're going down the hill there and stop sign's right there. But, okay. All right, well, tell her, Tony, we're gonna take a look and see if there's something we can do to that thing.
All right.
All right. You got anything else?
Me or him?
Well, we're still on your thing, curbs, alleys, and streets.
We're gonna switch jobs.
All right, finance. Finance,
You
tell
don't
me
want
how
that, do you? Everything's okay, unless
Right.
Aaron's got something.
No. Yeah, you guys are a tag team. Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Seymour?
The only question I got is about the boat docks. Are we gonna get a report? You know what I'm getting ready to ask.
Right, the survey report, the draft form is completed. The actual project is completed. The additional dredging, we're still working on it.
That was based on the sonar reads?
Correct.
Is he gonna come in and give us a report in the meeting?
I think Mike had him scheduled to do one-on-one. If you want him to appear at the meeting, we can schedule that to happen.
I'd like him to come in and make a presentation to let us know what we're voting on.
How it went and,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And at that
Next
time,
meeting?
at the next meeting, give you an update of,
November 4th?
Well, I know he's gonna have a lot of grass, a report going on out to the river, and I don't expect these guys to vote on something when they don't know. I'd just like to hear from an expert what our situation is.
and I think at that time, he'll give you some other means and methods of cleaning that last section too.
That's utter, isn't it?
Correct.
We'll get them at the next meeting. All right. Yeah, anything else?
I'll
I'll say I got two things under park, actually.
Parks, okay.
Yeah, I don't know the answers to them. The first one is, there's a resident that contacted me about the dog waste at the dog park, like whose responsibility is it to pick up if the owners don't? And they contacted some people that work at the Parks Department, said it's not their job. I don't know if it's anybody's job or what I should tell these people.
Well, that's not the answer.
Who?
City.
Because the people at the park said that they don't.
Yes, we do. We will.
So I'll have them call you guys if it's not done.
Yeah.
And then the second one came from Ms. Holcraft there. She said that someone told her that we were going to put an urn with Gus's ashes at the dog park. I don't know anything about that. She was wondering when that was going to be done.
What's that, an urn?
We were going to check to see if it could be done before we brought it to the board. I think Mike Clark's checking local ordinance now to see if it's in a floodway and a floodplain. That's what we told Ms. Holcraft.
Okay.
Lee, we'll have to get back to you on that. All right?
And Mike's on vacation leave till after a holiday.
Okay.
Mayor had another thing. It's something about park.
I'd like to make a comment on that dog park issue. Sometimes these people gotta self-police themselves. I don't wanna get into the point to where we're gonna end up having to hire labor for the city of Lawrenceburg to go over there and do that. Now, there's garbage that's thrown out in the areas. I already know we can put a curb on that. and I agree with the city employees do need to do what we tell them, but we also need to let the people of the community know there is a severe lack of pride in this community. These people are taking these parks for granted, so I don't necessarily just want to throw this on our employees. Because I personally think they do a pretty good job, and I know you didn't mean that, Aaron, but what I'm saying is somehow or another, we need to get the message across to the community that they need to police the parks that we've gave them. Take a little pride in them.
Well, and the thing is, Paul, I think one of the messages that we should put out is, you know, do you want your tax dollars spent picking up dog poop? And I mean, that's real simple. And when we
Get that quote, Joe?
Yeah, I see him rustling around there.
He got that.
That's front page.
Taxpayer dollars spent on dog poop. I see it already.
When we go to a dog park, if somebody has neglected to clean it up, I do, because I don't want to step in it.
That's a good point.
And I sure don't want my dog stepping in it or rolling in it, because that's hard to clean up. So I think that what we need to say is, look, these parks were provided for you. You need to help us take care of them.
Well, you know, we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars every year on these parks.
Yes, we do.
And I think we keep them in pretty decent shape. And when we identify something that needs to be replaced or fixed up, we do that. I don't think it's too much to ask for people to just clean up after themselves, pick up your
Pick up your
garbage.
McDonald's bag, or pick up your whatever cup.
Listen, we got people, employees that do that, and or when somebody else doesn't, but we shouldn't make it the norm, you're right.
Mayor, I got one other thing here on the parks situation, okay? One of our citizens just told me that the containers we have at the park, the front load containers, they're full. They're always full. I guess people bring trash in there and throw things away. Do we really have to have those big containers out there, or just have a nice garbage can for people to put trash in?
I think it's been more,
We did, go ahead, Tony.
I think it's been more since we got rid of the dumpsters down at the boat docks. So they've had to find somewhere else to
Right.
dump.
We're currently, we're gonna have a way to monitor that, because there's gonna be cameras.
We have an issue up
Yeah,
there now.
Yeah.
I was downtown the other night, and there was, an individual pulled in a pickup truck, and him and two other people got out and just started unloading all the stuff in the truck into a
Do
dumpster.
that down the car lot, car wash all the time down there.
The more dumpsters you have, I mean, they're gonna get filled up. That just happens. I would think, I don't know that we need them at the parks.
If we could put a dumpster down in their secure area where their garage is, they could take that trash, dump their trash, put the cans back, and let the roll-off truck or whatever, our city truck that picks that up, pick it up from there.
I don't know what the easiest or the best answer
I
is
don't
here.
either. That's the reason I brought it up.
Well, it's a good one.
Can the dumpsters be seasonal at least, to the point to where, because,
Yeah.
I mean, right now up at Ludlow Hill, maybe we don't even need them up there. Maybe we take them up there when everything gets.
That's probably a good
how
point.
things go this winter.
Or cut them back, you know.
Probably not a bad point.
More than what we got up there.
I mean, in the summertime, there's a lot more activity. People see people doing that or whatever, and then we have the cameras installed. But, yeah, maybe it is seasonal. Maybe we take them out in the wintertime.
Pull them all and see how it goes this winter.
How do you feel about that,
Fine with me.
gentlemen? Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Okay? We'll get that. This is at all parks, right?
I'd say.
If you don't, those go to the next
We'll
one.
just go to the next one, and that also includes the swimming pool. Swimming pool has a dumpster there beside it, and it's full.
Okay.
Here's what I don't understand. In Lawrenceburg, trash pickup is free.
Twice a week at that.
Yeah. And if you don't have a can, you
What's that?
set your bag out and somebody comes along and picks it up.
It might be people out in the county.
It is. Anything past scenic.
I don't know why anybody within city limits would even have a reason to do that.
I don't either. But who's doing it?
I think it's outside, I think it's
Outside
county.
the city of Lawrenceburg.
I don't want to throw them under the bus, but I guess we are.
Maybe the people from Greendale.
Uh-oh, that was Aaron Cook, A-A-R-O-N.
Right there, Jeff.
Your Honor, we do have a lot of people like from Ohio, the folks up on the hill that.
From
actually work at the
Ohio?
Hospital, that we've caught them where they'll bring a bag a day in.
Are you kidding?
From Ohio, they bring their, well,
They're
What's their
nurses.
license plate? We'll charge them
Nurses
$33 a
take
month.
smoke breaks, they'll drop stuff off in the.
I don't
in the
think you're
dumpster.
allowed to bring trash across state lines without a permit.
I don't know. Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and pull the dumpsters for the winter time, see how it goes. Get complaints,
We'll work on it.
tell them to come see, Mel.
That's right.
All right.
Please.
Okay. Anything else on parks and playgrounds? You guys beat that to death.
Nope.
All right. Fire, Randy, you got anything?
Here we got some, the fire department's continuing doing their business inspections, they're doing their minimal and their minor violations. Last week, the department assisted the fire marshal's office in inspecting the jail. And also, the weekend, the event center was inspected for the Christmas show. So that's what they've been doing here in the last few days. So I just want to pass that on. That's all I have.
All right. Bear with me, I got 2 or 3 announcements here that have to be announced. Lawrenceburg Community School Corporation has been deemed an A school, okay, which pretty difficult to get, I guess, and I got a call from Mr. Gailey, and he was wondering if we would be okay with them, they're going to purchase a banner and string it across the bottom of our electronic sign out on US 50 so everybody can see that Lawrenceburg Community Schools are an A school. You guys okay with that? I just told them I'd bring it up to you, and I didn't see a problem with it myself, but it's on their dime, so.
It's awesome.
Okay, well, we don't need a motion for that, I just want to let you know. Just want to let everybody know, Small Business Saturdays, this Saturday, the 25th. A lot of activity downtown. Everybody needs to invest a little money in these folks. They're doing a lot better than they ever have, but let's keep them viable. Wanted to let you also know that the mayor's reception and annual tree lighting will be Sunday evening, starting at 4:30 down here at the clock tower. Obviously, it's by the tree. There'll be some light refreshments, and then at 4:30, the Cincinnati Brass Band is going to be here to play. I've never heard them, but I heard they're really good. And then we've also got, about 5:45, we'll go outside, and we've got some, the 3rd through 5th grade over here at Central Elementary, they have an option to participate in an essay contest. And the meaning of the essay was, what does Christmas mean to you? Well, Carrie, my assistant, picked those up on Friday, and she says, if you want to come down over the weekend and read them, or if you get time, take them home, whatever, they're on my desk. Well, there were 261 of them. First year we've done this, 261. I came down here yesterday from 12:30 to 5:30, read all 261. But I'm going to tell you, we've got some great kids in this community. We've also got some kids who are going through a lot, and that's all I'll say. But it was very entertaining. We're going to honor those. The 3rd grade had 3 winners, 4th grade will have 3 winners, 5th grade have 3 winners, and they're going to be announced at the tree lighting Sunday evening. We're going to let the winners know that they're being announced, but they don't know if they're 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. They know for gift cards. So, but honestly, these kids are top notch, good kids. And then Winter Wonderland, you know, is officially starting, but the parade will be on December 2nd downtown at 12:30. And council, I'm inviting you all to ride on the fire truck that we're going to get Johnny to to drive for us again. So I'm inviting you to be down here at 12:30. I believe we'll line up over at Central. I think that's where we lined up last year. And then that's it. Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve minutes of the previous meeting.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Committee reports, Police Chief Donnie Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. I would ask council permission tonight. I wanted to trade in 2 cars, as I had mentioned earlier, from the Board of Works, for undercover cars, and gain 1 car. I do have enough money in my budget to do that. I'd like to ask council permission to do that tonight.
Okay. Y'all heard this about an hour ago. Any questions regarding it, though?
Yeah, does Hag Ford use the state bids?
There's actually no state bids, Aaron, as they explained to me. I understand that after talking to Caldwell down there. The other company that used to purchase these vehicles said that they were state bids. but
Okay.
They said they were no state bids, and this is lower than we ever got.
Okay.
But, I mean, I guess some people have, do they have to be Fords?
No, they don't have to be forced. I'll find one locally.
Whatever you guys, yeah, think you want, but, okay. All right. Okay, well, any other comments, questions? I'll entertain a motion then to approve the request by Chief Combs to go out and purchase the 2 vehicles.
So move.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Anything else?
Council. Just want to let the council know that I'm going to have some more officers go to our crisis intervention team training. That starts in January, February, and 1 day in March. It's a 40-hour course. I'm going to send 5 guys this time. It's all free training here locally at ID Tech, the Lakefront. It's with the NAMI group, the National Alliance of Mental Illness. Very important that we do this. I already have 4 trainings last year, so I should have about half of my department trained in this, out in the field, so we can handle better some disorders that we deal with out there. So
Okay.
really good training. We're doing further training with Shady Nook. I have Officer Hedrick, sort of an active shooter training after they called down a couple weeks ago and requested.
Good.
So we're on to that. We're actually this week at some point going up there to do a intermediate kind of thing and doing something in December with Shady Nook. So,
Okay.
and I also wanted to let the council know too, the 2 forts we got last year. The Fort come out with an exhaust issue, monoxide issues, which we had called around. We don't think we have any issues at all, but we are taking those 2 cars back to the Ford free of charge, and what they are doing is they're changing out the exhaust pipe, so that's being done. And other than that, that's all I have on my report, Mayor.
All right. EMS Director Bobby Mills? Okay. All right, under new business, is Jeremy Coe in the building? Okay. Cabela's King Cat National Catfish Tourney. Did you bring any fish with you?
Well, you didn't tell me. I don't have any catfish, but I'll bring you some crappie.
Oh, okay.
I just weigh in the catfish. That's about
Okay.
all I do. So,
All right.
well, thank y'all for having me tonight. I actually talked to David Snyder, one of your boys. I've been talking to him for the past few weeks now. Also tried over the past few years. I think you've talked to one of our other guys, Larry Clark, before. But this is somewhere that we've been trying to get out one of our Cabela's King Cat catfish tournaments for many years. Because if anybody knows, there's some big catfish that swim out here in the river. And it is a gold mine that a lot of places don't have and a lot of other places do not utilize to the point that y'all have, especially with the boat ramp and the facilities that y'all have used. So just a little bit of background on the Cabela's King Cat Tournament Trail. We are the largest and oldest nationally recognized catfish tournament trail. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with the fishing world, but we're kind of the FLW and BASS of the catfish world. We also run a sister company called Crappie USA, which is who David's been dealing with, is one of my crappie fishermen actually, who was going to try to help us get a catfish tournament up here. So that's kind of where we come from. We started in 2003, long before my time. I was just in the 3rd grade, but that's when we started in the catfish world. We've been in the crappie world for 33 years. Worked with Cabela's for 23 now, as long as I've been alive. They started the year I was born. So we've been working with them since 1994. We are the only organization that has ever worked with them that long, for over 10 years at that matter. So we've been with Cabela's for a long time. They actually come to us to start the catfish tournament trail. We did not go to them. So as my boss tells it, he told them that he didn't have any interest in the catfish world. The guy told him that he was going to design and start a catfish tournament trail. He just didn't understand. So he asked him when he wanted the first one to be, and that's kind of where we started. Since then, we've grown every year. The catfish compared to other species, bass, crappie, striper, all the other freshwater sport fish, the catfish is the fastest growing competitive fish in the United States at this time. So,
are you part of the Rising Sun?
I am not.
Okay.
No, Rising Sun is a tournament that is started by the city many
Gotcha.
years ago. I think even long before us and their festival. So that's just something that they put on and have grown it to what, 150, 160 boats in the catfish world. So one of the bigger events that draws in the catfishermen. So, but normally people ask me what it takes for us to come run an event. You already have the Ohio River, which is one of the major 4 in the country: Mississippi, Tennessee, Cumberland, Ohio. Probably one of the most popular. Is anybody familiar with the Pay Lakes and the trophy catfish problem that we have been faced with? Y'all are probably one of the hardest hit areas that we have had, that the commercial fishing has took a toll. What they're doing is catching these big trophy catfish, 40, 50 pound fish or above. The fish aren't suitable to eat, so they're putting them in Pay Lakes in Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and have almost ruined our fisheries on the Ohio back 5 or 6 years ago. So we completely pulled off the Ohio River as a whole when we were running tournaments from Pittsburgh to my part of the world in western Kentucky where it ends. We completely quit running fishing tournaments. Now that Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky has put in trophy catfish laws to protect those trophy catfish, our populations have rebounded, which is why we're trying to come back up the rivers and have tournaments. So, this being said, y'all have the best boat ramp from wherever the Ohio starts past Pittsburgh to western Kentucky. So, it's definitely a place we would like to call home. The fishermen are here, as you can see, like you said, in Rising Sun. There's 160 boats that come there. A lot of those guys being local, so there's definitely a big local draw. But with our tournaments, we typically draw a lot of out-of-state, a lot of out-of-town guys that bring that out-of-town tax dollars to the area, not just the in-town guys. So, but y'all have kind of everything that we look into running tournaments. Y'all have the facilities for the captains' meetings, have the facilities for the boat launch, the boat weigh-ins, just about everything. So we definitely draw a big spectator crowd as well. My dad's a bass fisherman, so I'll talk a little bit about the bass fishermen. They weigh in fish that long or that long. Our crappie fishermen, they weigh in fish that long. Indiana, they weigh in fish that long. So when you're dealing with catfish, you're either dealing with fish this long or fish that's bigger than an 11-year-old. So an 80-pound fish is definitely a possibility in this part of the world. So definitely an interesting market to be a part of. But our economic impacts, we do a one-day tournament and a two-day super event. We also have our classic. Those 1 days, 2 days are what qualifies you to come fish that big end of the year classic. The reason We have actually postponed our print deadline for all of our brochures and everything for next year to try to get you all on the schedule if it's at all possible. Just due to next year being the best possible publicity tournament for y'all to get involved in the catfish world. We're actually having our classic in Jeffersonville, Indiana, just down the road across from Louisville. The Summit Media radio station, which is 4 radio stations in Louisville and about another 30 nationwide, is spending $500,000 to bring in 3 country music artists. That's all they're spending to bring in the top country music artists. And as soon as I get done weighing in the last catfish, they're playing country music. So we're giving away a little over $125,000 in cash, possibly 2 Ranger boats, the whole 9 yards. So that being said, that's publicity that we can't afford to buy from that radio station and everything they'll be doing to promote not only y'all to come qualify for that tournament in Jeffersonville. So it's something that y'all would benefit greatly from, especially that being next year in Jeffersonville. So it would be a good time to get involved next year, because I can't promise that kind of publicity ever again unless Jeffersonville gets on board again. So $500,000 is a lot of money to spend on country music artists. So I guess what I was going to propose to you.
We know.
Yeah, that's way beyond me. What I was going to propose to you all, I know your budgets are finalized, and I think you wanted to meet with me beforehand. That message never got to me. I apologize. Deer season has been in full swing, and the guy David called is in Kansas right now, so we have 2 Jeremys.
Okay.
But so I never did get that message, so I apologize for not making it a little bit earlier. But I will be here tomorrow, so if you want to sit down tomorrow morning, me and David, we're going to ride around and tour the town, I guess, per se. So, but I know he couldn't approve any kind of money because I think his budget's about drained with the dredging and the cameras, which just adds to your facilities. But I was going to propose a 3-year deal to get y'all involved, because it takes about 3 years to grow an event. It don't matter what kind of event it is. You all being in the area that you're in may only take 1 year. It's a very good possibility because we have the tournaments in the area to help draw those. To do a 1-day tournament is $5,000 hosting fee. That brings about a $96,000 economic impact with that tournament. And then a 2-day super event is a Friday, Saturday event, which is a whole lot bigger payout, so it encourages a little bit more teams to attend, also with a larger economic impact. That is a $10,000 hosting fee. Being that your budgets are already filled, I have already got approval. If y'all wanted to do a 3-year deal, we could do $4,000 the first year, $4,500 the second year, and then $5,000 the third year, to try to help get in town and be here for 3 years, because we want to make it a successful event as well, because if it don't draw the same amount of boats that it takes for it to be successful for y'all, it's definitely not successful for us. So that's kind of our way to try to get you all involved and give it a little bit better meaning to come into town. So I do have approval to do that. If you are interested, I have dates. I have very few dates because, like I said, most of our schedule's already done. I've got one at the 1st of April, which would be more recommended than the end of July or the 1st of August.
We don't, David usually takes care of the scheduling.
Yeah.
We don't, unless somebody else knows, I don't have any idea what dates or anything, or it's open.
I don't know if there be any dates open. They have bass tournaments every weekend. A lot of boats go down there, and I don't think we ever give them anything. I honestly don't want to open that can of worms. I don't know how many tournaments we have down at that boat ramp, but I bet there's 25 to 50 a year.
Probably right.
And there's a lot of people and a lot of boats go, a lot of people stay in hotels. These hotels fill up. I've noticed they're coming down and they're parking in the parking lot over here and plugging their boats in. I think I could appreciate you coming in but we're trying to put things like the dredging in to attract these people, and I think we're doing our share. I mean, we just spent, how much was it? I forget.
It's 300 and, what, 60,000?
No comment.
It's higher now? Oh, the extra is
We
gonna be
we
higher.
spent a lot of money, didn't we?
The original was that,
We've had people coming here for years, fishing and coming and staying in hotels, and man, I just don't wanna. I want you to use the ramp, though. I want you to come down and bring as many people as you can.
And I think from talking to David, of course, I live on Kentucky Lake, and or Kentucky and Barkley, there's, any given time, there's 10 bass tournaments, crappie tournaments, catfish tournaments going on at any time. A lot of those are local events, club events that are just local guys. Like I said, our events are drawing teams from about anywhere from 9 to 11 different states that's coming in. So it's more of a national attraction, more of the national media attention from Cabela's in the outdoor world. And in talking to David, I think his whole goal in bringing in the larger, more national recognized tournaments such as FLW, BASS, Crappie USA, Cabela's, King Cat, stuff like that, to bring more national attention to the river and to Lawrenceburg. So that was going back and forth between David. Y'all might have other views, but that was kind of the goal in his mind, was to draw more national attention than just local. You want it all. You want all the business you can get, but a little bit of both. So,
one thing I did share with David when I talked to him today, because I didn't, I'll be honest with you, I looked at this schedule, but I didn't pay much attention to this particular subject because I hadn't met with you, so I didn't know what to expect tonight. But what I told him was, do we run a risk? I mean, we got a lot of tournaments going on down there every weekend. Our local folks that just want to put their boat in and out are really being compromised at times because the ramp is very busy.
Yeah.
It's very busy. I can appreciate the economic impact. I really can. I get that piece. I like the numbers, but I think Paul might have a good point. I mean, who's to say then the next person just didn't get every boat bass tournament we have is going to ask us for, and,
I don't know how many local people, I know there is local people
There is.
getting in.
There is.
but They ain't leaving their house on Ludlow Hill and staying in the hotel for 2 days. And there's a lot of boats that fill up the Riverside and Holiday Inn, and
yeah, and
we're gonna get approached.
well, I realize that. I believe you're right. I just, this money that we do budget for events is mainly for the downtown, because we're trying to really do a good job of promoting our downtown as a destination, along with, the boat ramp plays a big part of that. We don't discount the amount of business it brings to people, and especially out there on US 50. And that's all part of Lawrenceburg as well. So we're not discounting that. It's just I think this may open up a can of worms, like Paul had mentioned. Now, I don't know if you guys have anything to say about that, but I would say, I mean, unless somebody's willing to do something now, I'd say right now, I don't know that we're the right fit.
that'll work.
That's just, we could change next year. I don't know.
Okay. And I'll just stay in contact with David, and we'll just keep pursuing it, because like I said, we're towards the end, so it would have to be a now answer to get in 2018, just to get print deadlines met and things like that. So I'm going to, like I said, sit down with David in the morning, and we'll discuss some of the other options in further years, and then just continue from there.
Yeah, do that, and we appreciate you making the trip and coming, and I wish I could have talked to you before.
Hey, that'll
I
work.
could have laid some groundwork
Yeah.
for you, but,
Well, and like I said, we'll just pursue from there, so.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully, we can make something work, so.
Okay.
Thank y'all for having me.
thanks, Jeremy. All right, next item is the Shady Lane Pond encroachment issue, and I'm going to defer to my right and let Dell tell you the couple options we have.
Thank you, Your Honor, and if it pleases the council, this is an issue that came up at the last meeting, and we had some discussion, and we had some more involvement from the utility and some council members. Essentially, where we are is there was a property that is on the essentially county line. It's in the county, but it's on the line with the city. They're across the street from some city properties up on Shady Lane, Preble, and Ludlow Hill. The family there built a pond on the property, and I had the opportunity to meet with these guys, and I'm very certain that they unintentionally built this pond in a way that the dam, the lower part of the dam, actually encroaches onto our property and the property that we own alongside of the road. And so Mike Clark had the opportunity to meet with them. I met with Mike a couple times and just so I could get up to speed with his message. And so his thought in option one tonight, his thought was we will survey that property, we will get 2 appraisals for that property, and we'll sell them that property, and then we will retain an easement, a utility easement for the property that we sell them, so we maintain access and maintain the ability to go onto that property for the purposes that we would have. Obviously, the neighbors to that property aren't thrilled that their view has been changed. There were some trees that were chopped down, and the neighbors who are our city residents, the ones that we've spoken to, don't like that, and of course they don't. You know, their view has changed in the way that looks. So this deal and what we'll call option 2 and discuss next would include them purchasing that property, giving us an easement, and planting some new evergreen trees along that ridge line. The second option would be to essentially do nothing. And I had the opportunity to talk to Olin today and talk to the mayor a little bit, and I know that Olin and Mr. Seymour Jr. Rode up and looked at the property. So another option would really be to do nothing and keep the property. And if we did that, in both options, what it contemplates is the fact that they've encroached onto a property, and if we want to presume, we can presume that to be accidental. And the reason I'm fairly confident it's accidental is because the way they explained it to me is that he was building the pond, they had a death in the family, his father passed away, and he was finishing the project. It's something that he and his dad had wanted to do, and it took longer, and they used the tree line as a property line and kind of made a mistake as to where the property line would end. So I don't think they meant to do it. But both versions of that, of what we could do going forward, would presume that whether it's accidental or not, they are still on our property, and they definitely are. Again, the base of the dam is certainly on our property. Option 2 would also require them to still put the trees up, and improve that property line for the citizens that we do have across the street. But when I say do nothing, any action we take would essentially be in contemplation of potential litigation, and Mr. Seymour Jr. brought up a good point, and Mr. Cook, you brought up a good point as well. If we sell this, don't we have to advertise it, and why would we sell? We can't be in the business of selling city property to private individuals, and how do we do that? Well, the answer would be on the first hand that we can't really do that without, just generically, we can't sell property without offering it to everyone. But in this instance, if we were to do it, it would essentially be the contemplation of the finality of the litigation. So if we had to litigate or take an action, said you're on our property, you have to get off the property, and we wanted to stop short of just making them move the pond, which I think would be hugely complicated, then we could offer that as a potential way to resolve it. If we're in litigation a year from now, we say, okay, one option would be we sell you the property. So that's why it would be different, that's why it would be okay, and that's why it would be something that no one else could really do. We're not just going out and selling property to whoever. But so that's option one. But option two, when I say don't do anything, we would agree to not take action at this time. We would retain ownership of that property in case there were any, things that we wanted to do at a future date with the property, and they would agree in turn to build those trees and put the trees up, which I think is the main thing that our residents and citizens on the Hill want to see accomplished. And so talking to Owen, talking to the mayor, I kind of lean toward the second option. I know that Mike Clark leans toward the first option, and we can do either one. So I wanted to open that up for discussion, and then just have a vote tonight so we can kind of move forward and get through this.
Okay, the option of doing nothing. Before this, we had a meeting over lawsuits.
Yes.
And we're getting into a lawsuit now where it was one group was being sued, had nothing to do with us, then the next group, and then the third group, oh, here it is, Lawrenceburg. So if somebody got hurt on that property, are we responsible for it?
No, I mean, if someone was injured on property that we own through some type of recklessness or negligence on our part, then we could hypothetically, it's just general principles of personal injury law, that would be a danger. But the fact that they've encroached slightly on our property does not create a danger that would cause us to be liable for an injury. The pond itself isn't on our property. So the pond is on their property, in the county. It's just this kind of base of the dam.
Part of the dam.
Yeah, part of the dam. So if someone went in the pond and, God forbid, was drowned or was hurt, that pond is on their property. It's not on ours. So we wouldn't be responsible for that. That's a good question, though.
I went up and looked at it. When you go down that street, the first part of the street has no curb, and the utilities are on the same side as the pond. Telephone poles are. When you get halfway down the street, all of a sudden it's got curbs. Well, we just talked about a month or two ago on Pribble Road, we put curbs on the street because it was one of the last remaining streets in Lawrenceburg. It never had any curbs. So I say no harm, no foul. Have your pond, keep your grass cut. If you guys can get him to plant a few trees, fine. But I hate to even give up the area, and I never realized there's 4 or 5 houses back in there. There's no doubt in my mind we need that side of the road for utility work. So I'm not for giving up anything on that side of the road. I say no harm, no foul. I'd like to make a motion that no harm, no foul. We go with the second option to see if our attorneys can't get a couple of trees planted, if that would please the neighbors.
Well, the second option's selling the property still, isn't it?
The first option selling, the second option would be no harm, no foul. We don't take action now. We agree to not take action now if they'll put up some trees.
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, the motion on the floor, let me rephrase it, Mel, before you second it. Motion on the floor is, on the Shady Lane Pond encroachment issue, is to not do anything as far as selling the property, but require the owners, in light of letting them encroach on our property, to put up the 10-foot trees that were part of the original agreement, to shade for the neighbors, shade them from seeing it. Does that match, Paul?
Yeah, I don't want him to have to put them. It's not a good idea to have a tree on a dam, but as far as the location goes, I think there's plenty of room there for him to. I don't know what it looked like before.
It was really screened off, and the people across the street are worried about kids going up, and I get that.
Okay.
And they think that if the trees were put back the way they were, it might deter some of that. They wouldn't see it.
Okay, is there a utility reason why you should go back up and look at it and then maybe give a location on where the trees should go, to where they wouldn't interfere with your overhead line?
That would be my only concern, is the line running down that same side of the road is an overhead line, so obviously trees and electricity don't cohabitate very well together.
I would anticipate some tall evergreen.
Those are, yeah, as long as they were a fair distance away from us, I wouldn't have a problem with the evergreens. They grow really well.
Yeah.
We've battled the ones up there on Purple
Sure.
multiple times, so.
And if it's okay, I'll have them consult with you before they get the final locations selected.
Okay, so that's a motion on the floor, seconded by Mel.
Second, yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, I'll need a roll call, please.
Member Tony Abbott?
Aye.
Member Aaron Cook?
No.
Member Mel Davis?
Aye.
Member Randy Abner?
Aye.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.?
Aye.
Okay, motion will pass 4-1. Will you take care of that, Dell, to letting them know?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I'm going to skip around a little bit because we can. I'd just like to get a motion to approve the donation committee recommendations for October.
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I'd also like to get a motion to approve the a $15,000 match to the utility board's decision to contribute $15,000 as well, but the match from the city would be $15,000 for Lyman Rodeo.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry.
Thank you again for the support.
Welcome. All right, let's talk about kiosks. All right, kiosks. Here's where we're at, and I'd like to get we don't have to belabor this or anything. There's just a couple answers to come up with. Okay, we got these 3 kiosks. One's operational up at the event center, right? 2 are currently not. They're in storage. That's what we've done with them. We purchased these thinking they were going to be pretty much plug and play, and they're not. When we talked to our IT provider here, IT service provider, Nexigen, we had them take a look at it. We looked at their kiosks, which are, to me, are real kiosks. We also went down to Newport on the Levee and viewed one of their kiosks in operation. A few of us. I think it was the IT committee that went.
It was.
Anyway, here's what I would, this is a recommendation, and then you guys can ask questions, shoot holes in it, whatever you want to do. I would recommend that we purchase a kiosk from Nexigen that will be up at the event center there. I would also recommend that we do one of 2 things with the 3 that we have. We can either find indoor uses for them here in the city, because they are able to be used indoors, and probably would be sufficient at some points. Or Nexigen has agreed to advertise them for sale for us, and then come back to us and try to sell them for us at no charge. So whatever we get out of them, we can put towards the purchase of that new one. The new kiosks are originally 52,000? 48,000. They've agreed to sell us a new one for 40,000 and some change. Because what I also told them is what we might be looking at our Civic Park is an additional kiosk, if we like what we got in product. And so they came down on the price, obviously, and you guys know me, I try to talk him into going down lower. But anyway, my personal recommendation would be to purchase a new one for up here at the event center. Let Nexigen take care of it. They'll do all the software and everything on it. And let them try to sell the other three for us. We made a mistake on the three.
Finally.
Sounds good to me.
We made a mistake.
Mayor, is there any possibility to get the programming straightened out on the existing ones?
Well, it sort of
There's
is.
a cost to that, but
It is. We had them look at the one that's in operation up there now. But what they will not do is, they don't want to put their software attached to that machine.
You don't want to put lipstick on a pig, and we've done it for a while, it's done, getting rid of it.
Well, Your Honor, if I may, we did an extensive evaluation of the kiosk that is up at the event center now. There are many things about the kiosk that even if they put their software and got it running, I don't know that it's the unit that we want to have up there. If you were to open it up and look on the interior of it, you'll see that they've added things like a dehumidifier that you would set in your garage. They've just stuck that in there and plugged it in. It's not designed to be in the machine. It's not designed to perform in the machine like that. It's just been stuck in there. There's wiring on the exterior of it. Someone could come along and unplug the fan. There's just wires there. So it's not what I would call carrier quality, carrier rated. It's not even enterprise rated, which is a lower standard.
Or Hertz.
So I think that no matter what we did there, it would be throwing good money after bad.
okay.
So it's pretty simple. I mean, obviously, there was a mistake made in purchasing these, and we can sit and talk about it all night. But the bottom line is, I think we want a functional kiosk up there.
Two issues. Number one, the company that we're speaking with is SmartLink, so whatever motion was made would need to reference SmartLink.
SmartLink, yep.
And then also on the issue of this expenditure happening and this being kind of the elephant in the chat room, we have an IT committee now that you guys have entrusted to review these kinds of things. Myself and Suzanne and some of the others are on that. These kinds of things now are being routed through us to vet. So we can, even though we're not experts in the field, we do know people that we can talk with about different things, different technologies, so that when those items do come before you as a board, you guys can be confident that there has been some research done on it, the due diligence has been done, and that we have said, you know, we've given it the wink and a nod that we think it's a worthwhile project.
I agree. I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with what he just said about the IT committee. So, I mean, you guys know what my recommendation is. I'll entertain that in the form of a motion or not. But I would like to see a functioning kiosk up there. I think it fits our downtown, and I think it's something that we want, something we can be proud of.
Your Honor, I'll make the motion with one addition.
Yes.
Is that the two people that we depended on to provide us a working kiosk, software provider and the hardware provider, stand right up there so we can talk to them.
I'd be happy to bring him in. We can do that. But I don't want to make it part of the motion.
No, wait,
But we will
but
do that.
that's not the ones we're buying from
Oh,
now.
no, This will be purchased from Nexigen, or actually SmartLink, which is a company of Nexigen, or in with Nexigen. They build these themselves, and they do all the software, and, I mean, it's a top-notch.
I move that we purchase the kiosk and the software from Nexigen for a cost of $40,000, is that correct?
Yeah, it's, I don't have the exact cost, $40,485 is what I remember, I think, but.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Actually, would you make that, enter into an agreement with SmartLink instead of Nexigen? So I'll rephrase the motion. Motion on the floor is to purchase a kiosk from SmartLink for the outside of the event center, and to allow Nexigen and/or SmartLink to advertise our 3 existing kiosks for sale. That sound okay? Well?
That's a motion,
Okay.
yes.
Second?
I'll second that.
Randy seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion will carry. Thank you. I'm tired of talking about them. I'll tell you what, Mr. Weldon, help us abolish the AEP fund.
Of course, pleasure. We have ordinance number
13.
13. Been busy this year.
Ordinance number 13. 13.
Now we'll, as it pleases the council, do first reading of this ordinance. Ordinance number 13-2017, City of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, ordinance to abolish the AEP fund and transfer the remaining balance to MDF. Whereas Common Council, City of Lawrenceburg adopted ordinance number 6-2007 on June 4, 2007 to create the AEP fund, which is 286. Whereas the grant program is now eliminated due to the power plant being under new ownership and the expiration of the tax abatement. And whereas the Common Council now determines that the AEP fund should be abolished. And whereas the Common Council has authority pursuant to statutory and home rule powers to create, ascend, amend, merge, and abolish funds, now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council, City of Lawrenceburg, that 1, City of Lawrenceburg shall and does hereby abolish the AEP fund. 2, upon dissolution, the fund balance from the AEP fund shall be transferred into the Municipal Development Fund, with those monies to be used for donations to nonprofit groups. So that's first reading. We can open it up to questions.
You guys know what this AEP fund was, right? This was the agreement they had with us on the grant program, and when the new company Lightstone took over, they did away with the grant program, so we had these funds sitting in there. The only way we can use them if we put them in we thought we'd put them in the community donations fund. Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the first reading of ordinance number 13-2017.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read ordinance number 13-2017 by title only.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Please read ordinance number 13-2017 by title only.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Ordinance number 13-2017, City of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, ordinance to abolish the AEP fund and transfer the remaining balance to MDF.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance number 13-2017.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read ordinance number 13-2017 by title only.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Please read ordinance number 13-2017 for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 13-2017, City of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, an ordinance to abolish the AEP fund and transfer the remaining balance to MDF.
All right, and then I'll entertain a motion to approve the third and final reading of ordinance number 13-2017.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Miss Deidre Fajak, Ruffles and Rust Expo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm here tonight with Ruffles and Rust Expo. We're traveling boutique show with a vintage flair, and we really think Lawrenceburg is a perfect place for it. There's not many places where when you walk down the street, it looks like a Hallmark movie. My husband was here, and I'm like, you cannot believe when you hear the music playing in the streets. And I work at Millie and Company periodically. I'm over here fairly regularly eating and visiting the store and working with Jana in her store. And so through this process, Ruffles and Rust, the image and look and feel of the show is very much the feel that Lawrenceburg has. So the first show in Indiana, I'm charged to bring this program to Indiana, and the first show we want to kick it off in Indiana in Lawrenceburg. And so our hope is that, and our plan is that, we really would like to have a spring show and also a fall show. But as you know, anytime you start something new, it is new, and you have to really rally the support to get people to attend. So that's what we've done. We've gone out, talked to local vendors that produce these types of items, and we have seen a huge interest in it, even local businesses here already in town. Millie & Company will serve as our main location, where individuals that are signing up for Ruffles and Rust will come directly to the store to get the information. So it'll kind of be our hub for the show with any information that you want to get. In addition to that, Millie & Company will be our main sponsor for the event and have prime location in the front of the convention center and that kind of thing. We've also talked to White Barn Market, and they are investigating. I know probably most of you have never, maybe some of you have, if you've ever painted with chalk paint. Anyone here can say that they've painted something in their house with chalk paint? Well, the originator of the chalk paint movement in vintage furniture, her name is Annie Sloan, and White Barn Market is investigating bringing her as a speaker, which will bring people from all 3 states very rapidly to meet her. So we're hoping to have her here to do a demonstration on how to use chalk paint. And so that's an additional thing that has evolved after we've been discussing this that I haven't been able to share with the mayor. But I think you guys have a sheet about the details for this show. But our plan is April 21st and 22nd. And we set up on Friday, and we are going to have it at the convention center or event center. And the admission is $6. We have probably between 105 and 110 booths right now. Our goal is, if we start out right now, the event center has space available. We have reserved the main ballroom and the lobby in front of it. But as you know, that costs $10,000 to do that. And as we add additional rooms, if we get additional vendors interested over the 108 booths, it's $10,000 for every ballroom that they have there. So my reason for coming tonight is to see if we can get support from the City Council to help support our efforts to bring this show here. We recently had a show in Ohio, and they brought 7,000 people to that show. So if we were to host our spring and a fall show in October, which is what we are planning to do, that would bring 14,000 people. And we think we could probably do better than that with the connections that we have in this world of upscale vintage items. I'm trying to think anything else. Mostly a female audience. From the demographics, you can see 98%, and the age group is anywhere from 25 to 54, probably is the largest age group of women that would come to this. There are some men that come to this too, but it's primarily a female audience. And our targeted areas are Lawrenceburg, Aurora, Greendale, Hidden Valley, Northern Kentucky, obviously, and Greater Cincinnati. So we would draw from a large crowd. But we already have vendors from Texas. This show started in Texas, and so we already have been contacted by companies in Miami, Florida that would like to come. We have vendors from Texas that would like to come and set up here. So we're very excited about the interest that we're already getting. So we're part of a bigger organization. Ruffles and Rust has multiple states. They're in 8 states. And over 20 shows last year, and projected probably 25 shows coming up. So we're very excited to be the first, for Lawrenceburg to be the very first place in Indiana where this is going to happen. And so if you, so basically I'm asking for your support as far as helping us offset the fees to pay for the convention center so that we can help promote it. The big part the big expense on the convention center is $10,000. It's probably going to cost another $25,000 to promote it, get the word out, publicity, giveaways, all those kind of things. We want to do not rodeo, I can't compete with the rodeo, but where we do radio promotions and that kind of thing. Any questions for me about it? Has anyone ever attended Ruffles and Rust, the one in Hamilton, Ohio? Okay. Anyone's
I will give you this, and I hadn't shared this. Deidre had come to my office and met with me a couple months ago. And before they had, I guess, as they were making the determination to come to Indiana and to Lawrenceburg. Anyway, I was in the antique store, just walking around as I do periodically when I don't know have anything to do. But anyway, I was talking to a lady that, and she said she was in town from somewhere up in Ohio, northern Ohio, and she says, this reminds me of the expo that we have in Ohio called Ruffles and Rust. And I said, really? I said, because I just was you had been in my office to talk about this. I don't know if she was a plant for you or whatever.
She wasn't.
But anyway, she told me that it's one of the most well-attended events of this kind that she's ever been to. She goes the one in Hamilton, I guess it was, or something.
Is the original traveling boutique show.
Okay. If you guys have been in Millie's Mercantile, that's similar to the type of...
It is similar. Yes, we have a variety of vendors, but it is a similar look and feel to that. It also is, we've traveled around and we've participated in shows. And the reason I'm doing this is that Jane and I have done shows, and other friends, we've traveled around and participated in these shows. We attended and participated in the Ruffles and Rust show. We made more money there doing these shows than anywhere. And I know Jane has traveled to Illinois, to North Carolina. Still, Ruffles and Rust is the best show, which is why I decided to contact them, because we made more money participating in selling our wares with them, and also they have the better look and feel. They draw an audience that can actually, a lot of these are very expensive items. We have a range, we have both, but it draws the right audience that I think you would want in the community, that's going to visit your local establishments and that kind of thing. So, and the hotel, the convention center has been very supportive, but of course, it is very expensive to use that facility. And I've looked at a lot of facilities to do this. I'm also doing this in Kentucky, and it is by far the most that I've had to pay in rent to do a show. So that's why I really need your support to help us be able to kick this off and bring it to Lawrenceburg.
I've got a few questions or statements. We just turned down a fishing derby because we didn't want to open a can of worms. We've been doing this, and I kind of see like we opened a can of worms, but it does help. Don't get me wrong. But there was just one thing done at the event center this past weekend, and they never asked us for a dime, and it seemed to go off. It seemed to go off pretty well, real well. How much are you putting into this, your group?
I will have to put in all of it, so I'm solely responsible for all of it, personally. Yes, to be able to bring it here.
What's your budget? Is what?
So our budget, our overall budget, I can give you the budget. So our overall budget is. Revenues projected at $44,000, and then our expenses would be $25,000. So that would leave us with 19 to offset the cost. So we still will have $15,000 that we'll need to put into the show just to be able to bring it here.
10,000.
Because it's right. So it's the first right. So I'm asking for 10,000, but we would still need to put a substantial amount of money, more than the 10,000 in it, to make it happen, and to get to draw the crowd that we need to put the promotion in and that kind of thing. We're definitely going to have to do that.
I know we agreed to do this for the event center to get it rolling. Just at what point do we say we're done? has to take care of itself.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think we're there. Not until we get that thing full. The way I feel about it.
Well, the event center is not gonna have to worry about their pricing on this as long as we keep.
Mary, have you had any luck?
Yes,
negotiating with
and
them?
listen, guys, yeah, I have. I've talked to them on numerous occasions. Every time we talk about this, I go and talk to them. And the thing is, you may be paying more for this, but I can guarantee you, I would assume that the facility in Kentucky is not as nice.
It
as
is not
this.
as nice, no.
Okay.
No, it is not half as nice, probably, you're right.
It's the same thing with the fishing expo, guys. I mean, if you want nice things, you pick for nice things. I went up there and told them, not time and time again, you guys, it seems like you're so expensive, but you gotta look, what are you comparing them to? You can't compare them to a 20-year-old facility or Agner Hall. That's the facts. And I get it. I get it. I mean, the only thing that we're hoping with this program is to be able to give somebody seed money for their first event, and then after that, it's
And then we'll have the money for the next
yours,
one.
right?
We would have the money for the next one.
But you've already had your first one, but just in other places?
No, I have not. So I'm the local promoter for Indiana and Kentucky. So Ohio is a different person that's actually coordinates that. So I'm the one to decide. I reached out to Ruffles and Russ and said, I would like to do this in Indiana and Kentucky. And so that's how I came about to do this, do my involvement with this.
She broke 10,000 people this weekend. I talked to her.
Yeah, I did too. Yep, 10,000.
Yeah, and I was here. It was great.
And I think
That's why I'm having a hard time understanding this. I mean, she did it without a dime from us.
And I do not know the difference, honestly. I did attend that show, but I do not know, there's no way to predict that the same thing could happen or may not happen.
will you do this show without our help? Or will you think about it and figure out if you need all those rooms and do something that might make, that's my question to you.
We can only do, the $10,000 is just for one room. So that would make the show a much smaller show if we have to do it in just one room. So that really, that's the issue, is that as far as to be able to grow the show, we can't pay $80,000 to use all the rooms. I mean, and then some of the areas you have to pay for the hallways and that kind of thing. And it is a great facility. I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm just saying it is very expensive for an organization that is just starting up in this state to do this program.
That's the thing that I think we need to understand. All we're doing is investing in they're taking whoever's at that podium's taking a risk, right?
Yes.
The reason we started this was so we could get downtown foot traffic to help people get seed money, first time seed money. I mean, listen, I'm not in favor of funding everybody every year, or funding the same people back every year. That's not what I've been talking about. The thing is, we got X number of dollars that we could use to invest in these shows that bring the foot traffic to downtown. Now, I think I've seen numbers like 6,000-7,000 people or something.
Yes, 7,000 in Hamilton.
Yeah. And chances are your first year you won't get 7,000.
Well, we're
Hopefully you do.
We're shooting for more than that.
Hopefully you do.
Yes.
How many vendors can you get in that Great Miami?
In about 110 vendors can be in just the one room and the foyer in front.
And that's how many you've got?
Budgeted for.
Okay.
Yes.
How many do you think you have in your back pocket right now? That's willing to come here.
We probably have 75% of it, of people that want to come.
Okay.
You know, getting them there, getting them to pay, you know, there's a process. They all have to pay their booth rental and that kind of thing. A lot of people say they want to come, but I don't think we'll have a problem getting vendors to come. A lot of people know about Lawrenceburg. They come to Milling Company. They come to the new antique mall that you have. We keep hearing a lot about that because we travel around and do shows for ourselves, you know, and so, you know, people are hearing about it, so hopefully that will help draw. But we still take a risk when you invest $10,000 of my money to see if it actually happens. But, you know, I'm going to work obviously diligently to make sure that happens. So really we need money to help offset that risk that we have in bringing it here. And we really want to have it here. We'd love to have it here twice a year, but we just need a little help to get us going this year. So if it's somewhere, you know, what you can do to help us make that happen, anything you can do would be, you know, greatly appreciated to help us move this along.
Well, you guys know how I feel, so I'm not a voter.
Make a motion, we seed this group this year for $10,000.
All right.
Before you finish, don't you work with the event center, Mayor, to rent that room?
I'm sorry.
Don't you work with the event center to rent the room that she wants? You were saying
I
earlier.
worked at the event center to rent every one of those rooms for people. Yeah.
So you'll do the same thing with this one?
Of course I will. I'll go up there with her and talk to, like I did the other ones.
So it may not be 10,000 then?
You know, we might be able to get something. Yeah. Listen, they've got to take a risk too. So that's the way I put it to them when I go up there with folks. I mean, I did it where I went up with the fishing guys, you know. I mean, they have to take a risk, just like we're taking a risk and the people at that podium's taking a risk. Yeah, that's the way I approached it. Any other comments, guys? There's a motion on the floor to invest $10,000 in the first year for Ruffles and Rust Expo. I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Don't let us down.
I will not let you down. Thank you all very much.
All right.
Come see Annie Sloan. You can learn about chalk paint.
Hey, we will, we'll make a trip up to the event center and see if we can help with that.
Miss Sloan's been here to see us a couple times.
Who has?
Miss Sloan.
She has?
No, not Miss Sloan, the owner of the White Barn.
Oh, Sherry, yeah.
Sherry? Oh, yeah.
Sherry.
Yeah, we know Sherry, right?
Sherry's gonna love you now.
Yeah.
Well, we did get some free advice through redevelopment and meeting with Kathleen, and who's one of the potential consultants for redevelopment, gave us some free advice that says definitely need female targeted retail in your downtown. It's a huge key. You know, that's one of the things she told us about, and I think with all the stuff that we're doing, that really is addressing that need.
Okay, no other new business, unless you guys do. Any old business? Dell?
Yes, sir, Your
Maple
Honor.
Street vacation resolution, this is not an ordinance.
No, sir. And so,
Goodness.
I have that, and I have a couple other things. This is resolution number 11. So, resolution number 2017-11, this is a resolution to vacate real property. You all have a copy of this in your packets, but this is, what we're doing is we're vacating what we're calling Maple Street Alley, and the survey's in here, but it's the alley in between the two Maple Street parcels that we've rezoned with the hopes that through this tax credit incentive program, we'll be able to have a company come in and build really nice senior living. We are really excited about that project, and so we as part of the initial negotiations, we agreed to get that rezoned and give them an option on contract on that. We already have, but vacating the property, vacating this alley in between the two parcels makes it all just one big parcel, which will help them when they're marketing it to the government to get the tax credits that'll help them make this project a reality. So I'd open it up for questions and then open it up for a vote. This was drafted by Mr. Blondell, who does, our planning and zoning, historic and BZA. So this is the last step in a vacation process for something like this.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
Will this help them pursue their grants?
Yes, sir, it will.
If they end up not being able to get the grants, we've got people in town now interested in building houses, so are we planning on tearing the alley out? Or are we gonna let it sit? And then if the project goes defunct, can we put the alley back in place so that those lots would be a buildable lot for 3 or 4 homes?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. Yeah, all we're doing is taking the alley, splitting it in half in terms of the property description and adding it to those lots, but we're not touching it. So if this Maple Street senior living project falls apart, we can divide it back up any way we want. We're not tearing out the lots, or tearing out the alley. Yes, sir.
I have one question. Mr. Clausen, do we have a sewer that runs through there?
I can look into that, Mel.
But we're keeping it.
Keeping the utility easement?
We're keeping everything. We still own both the lots and the alley. We're just saying, officially, formally, now we're saying this alley can be a part of this. It's just one big piece of property. But we still own all of it. They just have an option on it. They haven't bought it yet.
Right, all right.
Okay. Is that what you guys are going to ask? Okay.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2017-11.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. What else you got?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call at this time for some formal votes. The first formal vote for which I would ask council to weigh in on is we have 2 mediators proposals in employment litigation cases that we have, 2 separate employee litigation cases. We have the same mediator and the same mediator's proposal. In the first case, it's a formal offer, and so we've discussed these at appropriately at an executive session. So I would ask for a vote from council as to whether or not we wish to accept the formal offer to settle the case for that mediator's proposal, and then if we wish to pursue the mediator's proposal in the other matter.
We'll call these, for lack of better terms, we're not divulging names. We'll call it number 1, number 2. All right?
That's terrific.
So I would entertain a motion to accept the proposal or from the mediation on item number 1. No motions? Fails for lack of motion.
And then the second one, Your Honor, it's not, isn't a formal offer, but the vote would be to pursue, if the council desired, the same mediator proposal in option 2.
Okay, so the second one, the motion would be to give council to proceed further to entice the other litigating party into a similar offer that was offered in mediation. No motion?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Fails for lack of motion.
And then finally, Your Honor, Judge, almost called you. I'm tired. Sorry. I would ask for a motion. We have been made an offer on a real estate lease and purchase of property for property that's located here in city limits on the river. That was a formal offer that was given to us, and I've conveyed that offer to council. So now I would ask for a vote to accept or reject that offer. And so that offer is actually a counteroffer to our original offer. So if we vote to reject that counteroffer, then we'd be proceeding on our first offer.
Motion to reject.
Motion to motion is to reject? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor of rejection?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry.
Thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, I'll entertain comments from this great audience that's been patient. Well, thank you. All right, we got any advance payments? This Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. A motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will adjourn. Thank you all for coming out. We appreciate it.
Daylight when we got here.
Yeah, thank you. Then I got to back out and watch these. Not that exciting.
What's that?
And I want, I would like to.
33, no. 30,000? We'll get, no, 10,000 apiece or so. The total-